I never thought I'd find myself in a situation like this, but here I am trying to make sense of what's happened. My name's Jake, and I've been with my wife, Lisa, for about 8 years now. We got married young, both of us trying to make it work, and honestly, I thought we had a pretty good thing going. She's always been a bit of a bitch, sharp-tongued, dismissive, quick to lie when it suited her. Still, I loved her. Or I thought I did. Looking back, there were little signs that something was off. She started working late more often. Not just the occasional night out, but legit late calls, long hours at the office, and a strange change in her mood, more irritable, more distant, like she was hiding something. I'd ask her about it and she'd brush me off, telling me I was imagining things, that she was just stressed or busy. I bought it, mostly because I didn't want to believe she'd cheat on me. But then the oddities started piling up. Her phone started dying whenever I'd try to see it. She'd suddenly get defensive if I looked over her shoulder when she was on her laptop, and she'd always have a reason for her absences. Most of all, her attitude changed when I confronted her about missing little things, like our anniversary, which she barely acknowledged, or weekends she'd claim were work emergencies, but then be oddly secretive afterward. I tried talking to her about it. She'd lie, of course. Tell me she was working late, that I was imagining things, that I was paranoid. She'd throw in some bitchy remark about how I was insecure or jealous, which made my stomach tighten every time. I started noticing her phone was always nearby, even when she was sleeping, and her texts became more frequent, more guarded. It was like she was hiding a whole separate life. One night I came home early from work. I had this gut feeling, like a knot in my stomach, and I decided to check her phone, just a quick glance. I didn't think I'd find anything crazy, just the usual work emails and stupid memes she sent herself. But I was wrong. Immediately, I saw the messages. They weren't about work at all. They were from some doctor, Dr. Mark, I think. They kept talking late at night, specifically around the hours. She'd be sleeping, while I was medicated and out cold in the other room. The messages weren't just professional. They had this weird, intimate tone, not explicitly sexual but definitely flirty. "Can't wait to talk to you tonight," one said. "Your consultation calls get more interesting every time," another read. I stared at the screen, my heart pounding. And then I saw the dates. They'd been happening for weeks. I don't know how I missed it, but she'd been hiding this from me all along. The doctor, who was supposed to be treating her for her chronic illness, was the guy she was texting late at night while I was supposed to be asleep, medicated, and out of it. My mind went into overdrive. I felt sick, betrayed, angry. How could she do this? How could she lie so easily, pretend everything was fine, when she was basically cheating on me with her doctor? The crazy part is, the whole thing was so convenient for her. Those late-night calls, the refills. Hell, every visit she booked with him was like an excuse to hide what she was really doing. I knew she lied about her doctor visits, but I never thought she'd cheat like this, not with someone so close, someone who was supposed to help her get better. I kept staring at the messages, trying to process what I'd just uncovered. My head was spinning, my stomach twisted in knots. I felt so stupid for not noticing sooner, for trusting her so blindly. And the worst part, I still loved her, or at least I thought I did. But this was too much. I couldn't just pretend like I didn't see what I saw. I had to confront her, but I wasn't ready yet. I needed to think. I needed to decide what to do next. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. My mind kept replaying the messages I'd seen over and over. I couldn't focus on anything else. I knew I needed to confront her, but I also felt like I was walking on thin ice. If I said the wrong thing, I was afraid she'd deny everything or turn the blame back on me. Lisa was in the kitchen, humming to herself, acting like everything was perfectly normal. She looked at me when I came in, that fake smile she always wore when she was trying to charm her way out of something. I just stared at her, my stomach churning. I was trying to figure out how to start, how to tell her I knew about her affairs without making her go full bitch on me right away. Finally, I just blurted out, "Lisa, I need to talk to you about something. It's important." Her smile flickered for a second, then she nodded, sipping her coffee like she wasn't nervous at all. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice steady. "I saw your messages last night, the ones with Dr. Mark, the late-night texts, the calls. What the hell is going on?" Her eyes widened for a moment, then she rolled her eyes and scoffed. "Oh, seriously, you went snooping through my phone? That's just great, Jake. Classic. You're so damn paranoid it's pathetic." She looked at me with that bitchy glare like I was the problem just for asking. "I'm not paranoid," I said. "I saw those messages, and I know you've been lying for weeks. About your doctor visits, about your late nights. Tell me the truth, Lisa. Are you cheating on me?" Her face twisted, her voice sharp. "Cheating? You're crazy. You're just jealous like always. You think I'd cheat on you with that loser doctor? Please, you're the one seeing things. Maybe you like to believe I'm cheating so you can feel better about yourself. But I'm not. I'm sick, I'm tired, and I don't need this bullshit from you right now." I felt my blood boil. I wasn't going to let her lie her way out of this. "Stop pretending, Lisa. I know what you're doing. Those calls, the texts, they're not professional, they're about something else. You're sleeping with him, aren't you?" She laughed, that cruel, dismissive laugh she always used when she knew she had the upper hand. "You're so dramatic. Honestly, I don't even know why I bother. You're just insecure, and you're making a big deal out of nothing. Maybe I need someone who actually cares about me instead of accusing me of cheating every second." I could feel my fists clenched. I wanted to yell, to scream, but I held back. All I could think was how she was lying right to my face, how she was so good at pretending she was innocent when I just caught her red-handed. I asked her again, "Is there someone else? Is it him? Are you sleeping with your doctor?" Her eyes narrowed and she snapped, "Oh, grow up. You're so obsessed with me cheating. Maybe I should just leave. Maybe I don't want to be with someone who doesn't trust me." She huffed, turned around, and stomped out of the kitchen, leaving me standing there, stunned. That moment was like a punch to the chest. I felt numb, broken even. I knew she was lying, but hearing it out loud, seeing her react that way, it was like my worst fears had come true. She didn't deny it outright, but her attitude confirmed it. She was cheating, and she was doing it with her doctor. That realization hit me like a freight train. I sat on the couch, staring at the wall, feeling everything I'd built with her crumble in an instant. My mind was racing. How long had she been doing this? How many nights had she been with him? I kept thinking about the calls, the texts, the secret meetings I'd never suspected. All those nights I'd waited up thinking she was working late. All those times I'd asked if she was okay, if she needed help. Turns out she was just hiding her affair. I knew I had to respond, but I didn't know how. Part of me wanted to confront her again, scream at her, make her admit everything. But another part just felt exhausted. What was the point? She didn't care about me, not enough. She was willing to throw away 8 years for some doctor's attention. In that moment, I realized I was done. I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. I didn't want to be in a marriage where I was just a fool, a sucker who kept trusting her while she was out cheating. I had to figure out what to do next. I knew I couldn't stay. Not after this betrayal. I just didn't know how to tell her that I was leaving, or even if I wanted to stay and fight for something that was already broken beyond repair. The days that followed were a blur of emotion, anger, sadness, confusion, and a strange sense of numbness. I couldn't eat much, couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, that smug look she gave me when she denied everything, like she believed her own lies. I kept replaying the moment I found her messages, feeling this sick mixture of betrayal and disgust. How could she have lied so easily? How could she have done this behind my back, with someone she was supposed to trust to help her through her illness? I started digging deeper. I needed to know how long this had been going on, how many nights she'd been sneaking around. I checked her phone again, going through every message, every call. It was obvious she'd been lying for weeks. The doctor, Mark, wasn't just some casual acquaintance. He was a full-blown affair. She'd been calling him late at night, having consultation calls that weren't about her health. I was pretty sure of that now. It was all too obvious. I found texts where she'd be giggling, flirting, planning meetings. I even saw a message where she said she couldn't wait to see him again, and he replied something about how she was his favorite patient. The worst part, she had no shame. She kept lying, spinning her stories, making me question myself. She'd say it's just a medical thing, or you're overreacting, or you're just jealous because I won't give you any attention. Every excuse was more pathetic than the last, but the truth was right there in black and white. She was cheating on me with her doctor, and she had been lying about her illness to hide it. I decided I needed to confront her again. I couldn't keep pretending I didn't know. I waited until she was home from work, trying to keep calm. When she walked in, she looked at me, that bitchy smirk still on her face like she didn't think I had a clue. I handed her her phone, the one I'd secretly taken some screenshots from. "Look at this," I said coldly. "These are texts between you and Mark. Late-night calls, flirtatious messages. Tell me, Lisa, how long has this been going on?" She looked at me, eyes narrowing, trying to play innocent. "What are you talking about? That's just some work stuff. You're crazy, you're imagining things." I shook my head, feeling my blood boil. "Don't lie to me. I know everything. How long have you been sleeping with him?" "Did you think I wouldn't find out?" She scoffed, crossing her arms. "Oh, please, you're so insecure. You're always accusing me of stuff. Maybe I should just leave. You're not the man I thought I married." That was it. My voice was trembling, but I forced myself to stay steady. "No, I want the truth. Are you sleeping with him, with your doctor?" She hesitated for a split second, then spat, "Fine. Yes, I've been seeing him, but it's not what you think. It's just sex, that's all. I don't love him, I swear. It's just, I don't know. I'm tired of pretending everything is fine with you. I needed something else, something real. You're always so uptight, so controlling. I needed an escape." Hearing that made my stomach turn. I felt a mix of rage and heartbreak. She was justifying it like she was ordering dinner, like it was no big deal. I looked at her, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. "So you've been sneaking around behind my back while I was lying here thinking everything was okay, and you call it just sex, that's your excuse?" She rolled her eyes again, sneering. "You don't get it, Jake. You're so fucking boring. Sex with you is like a chore. With him, it's exciting, it's different, and honestly, I don't even care if you're mad. I'm done pretending. I want out of this marriage. I want something real, and if that's with him, so be it." Her words hit me like a punch to the stomach. I couldn't breathe for a moment. I stared at her, feeling my world crashing down around me. How did it come to this? How did I go from being a good husband, trying to support her through her illness, to this? I'd always thought we were solid. I'd trusted her. And now I was left with nothing but a shattered heart and a million questions. I didn't have a response right away. My mind was racing too fast. I felt numb, like I was watching everything from a distance. She was cold, detached, and unapologetic. That's when I realized the only thing I could do now was decide whether I was going to fight for what was left or just walk away. But deep down, I knew she'd already made her choice, and I wasn't sure I could pretend to be okay with it anymore. The days after that confrontation were even worse. I felt like I was trapped in some messed up nightmare I couldn't wake up from. Every time I thought about her with Mark, my stomach twisted again. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I let her lie to me so effortlessly. I'd trusted her, believed her when she said she was sick, and now I realized she'd been lying about everything: her health, her feelings, her fidelity. She moved out a few days later, packed her bags, and left without much warning, like she was eager to get away from the mess she'd created. I was left in our apartment, surrounded by memories that suddenly felt like prison walls. I'd never felt so betrayed in my life. My mind kept going in circles, replaying every moment, every conversation, trying to find some clue I'd missed. I couldn't understand how someone I loved, who I thought loved me back, could do something so cruel. I spent hours staring at the ceiling, feeling empty. I wasn't just hurt, I was furious. Furious at her for cheating, for lying, for treating me like I was disposable. I felt like such a fool. I had opened myself up to her, trusted her with my feelings and my life, and she'd thrown it all away for some doctor with a god complex. The worst part, I knew she was probably still seeing him, maybe even lying about how much she missed me, how she wished things were different. But the truth was clear. She didn't want us anymore. The immediate temptation was to lash out, to tell her exactly what I thought of her, how she'd ruined everything. But I knew that wouldn't do any good. She didn't care about my feelings. She'd already proven that with her lies and her betrayal. So I kept quiet, trying to piece myself back together, one shattered part at a time. I started packing away her clothes, her things, bit by bit, feeling like I was trying to erase her from my life. One night, I found myself going through her stuff, a habit I hated but couldn't seem to stop. I found some receipts from the doctor's office, some more texts, and even a few pictures she'd taken of herself with him. Seeing her smiling, so happy in those photos, made me feel sick. I realized that she'd been happier with him than she ever was with me. That thought stung worse than any punch. It was like I'd been replaced, discarded like an old toy she no longer needed. I started thinking about the future. Was I going to let her get away with this? Could I even forgive her? Honestly, I didn't want to. I felt betrayed on every level: trust, love, respect. I knew I had to do something, but I wasn't sure what. Part of me wanted to confront her again, call her out, threaten her even. But another part, the quieter voice, told me to just walk away, to leave this toxic mess behind and start over. I sat down and made a decision. No matter how much it hurt, I wasn't going to chase her, beg her to stay, or try to fix what was already broken. If she wanted to leave, fine. But she was not going to hurt me anymore. I was done feeling like the fool in this story. I needed to reclaim my life, my dignity. That meant cutting her out completely, blocking her number, deleting her from my social media. I knew I had a long road ahead, but I also knew I couldn't stay in this mess anymore. I had to find a way to move on, even if it was the hardest thing I'd ever done. That night, I sat alone in the dark, thinking about everything. About how I trusted her, about how she lied to my face, about how I was stupid enough to believe we had something real. And I wondered if I'd ever be able to love again, if I'd ever fully trust someone again. But for now, I had to focus on healing. Because staying stuck in this heartbreak wasn't going to do me any good. I had to find a way to rebuild myself, something I wasn't sure I was capable of just yet, but I knew I had to try. Weeks went by, and it felt like I was just going through the motions. Every day, I'd wake up with this gnawing ache in my chest, a constant reminder of how messed up everything was. I tried to keep busy, going to work, hitting the gym, hanging out with friends, but nothing could really distract me from the pain. The worst part was the emptiness. Inside, I kept thinking about her, about Mark, about all the lies she told and how she threw everything away for some fleeting pleasure. I started reflecting on what I could have done differently. Maybe I should have seen the signs earlier, maybe I should have pushed harder, asked more questions. But honestly, I thought I knew her. I thought I understood what she was going through. Turns out I was blind. I kept blaming myself, wondering if I was enough or if I'd somehow failed her. But deep down, I knew that wasn't true. She chose to cheat, to lie, to hurt me. That was on her. One day, I finally decided I needed closure. I sent her a message, not to beg or plead, but just to get some answers. I told her I knew everything, that I didn't want to hear her excuses anymore, and that I just needed her to be honest. I didn't expect a reply, and I didn't get one right away. But a few hours later, she responded. She told me she was sorry, but not sorry enough, and that she didn't want to keep pretending. She admitted that she'd been unhappy for a long time, that Mark made her feel alive again, and that she didn't see a way back to us. She also threw in some bullshit about how she needed to find herself, whatever that meant. Her words didn't really sting anymore. They just confirmed what I already knew. She was done, and I was better off without her. At that point, I realized I had a choice. I could keep dwelling on the past, or I could start trying to rebuild my life. The decision was clear. I couldn't keep carrying this weight around. I needed to let go of her completely. I started by blocking her on everything, deleting her number and cutting off all contact. It was damn hard, especially since I still loved her, but I knew I had no choice. I also decided to see a counselor. Talking to someone helped me process everything, helped me see that I wasn't at fault and that I deserved better. The therapist told me that I needed to focus on myself, heal from the betrayal, and rebuild my confidence. It was tough, but I committed to it. I promised myself I wouldn't let her define me anymore. I was going to get through this, even if it took a long time. In all this, I learned something important. Trust is fragile and it can be broken in an instant. But I also learned that I had to put myself first. I couldn't keep living in the shadow of her lies. I deserved honesty, loyalty, and respect. I still have days when I feel like crying or lashing out, but those moments are getting fewer and farther between. I'm starting to find myself again, alone but stronger than I was before. The biggest lesson: never ignore the small signs. Don't be naive like I was, thinking everything is perfect when it's not. And most importantly, don't let someone's betrayal ruin your sense of worth. I don't regret the love I gave her, but I do regret trusting her blindly. Now I'm focused on rebuilding, one step at a time. And honestly, I'm starting to feel like I might just be okay again someday. Looking back now, I can see how much I've changed in just a few months. It's been a brutal ride, but I'm finally starting to feel like myself again. The pain of discovering her betrayal never fully goes away, but it does get easier to bear. I've learned that trust isn't something you can take for granted, and that sometimes people you love can hurt you in ways you never thought possible. One thing I've realized is that I can't control her choices or her actions. She made her bed, and I had to accept that I couldn't fix what was broken. What I could do was focus on myself, rebuilding my confidence, reestablishing my boundaries, and finding happiness outside of her shadow. I started investing more time in the things I love: music, working out, reconnecting with old friends. Slowly, I began to rebuild a life that's mine, not hers. The biggest lesson I learned is that betrayal shatters something inside you, but it also offers an opportunity for growth. It forces you to confront your own strength, your resilience. I found that I was stronger than I thought, strong enough to walk away from someone who didn't value me, strong enough to heal, and strong enough to trust again someday. It's a slow process, and I still have days when I feel like I'm back at square one. But I remind myself that time heals, and I have control over what I do with it. I've come to accept that some things will never be the same. My marriage is over, and I'm okay with that. I don't harbor resentment or hatred anymore, just a quiet understanding that I deserve better. And I've learned that honesty and loyalty are rare, precious qualities that I won't settle for less in the future. I want someone who respects me, who's honest from the start, who doesn't hide their phone or lie about their feelings. So if there's one thing I want to say to anyone reading this who might be going through something similar, it's this: trust your instincts. Don't ignore the signs. When something feels wrong, it probably is. And if you find out someone you love has betrayed you, don't let it define you. You are more than the pain they inflicted. You have the power to heal, to move on, and to find happiness again, even if it feels impossible right now. I'm still healing, still learning, but I'm finally ready to leave the heartbreak behind. And I promise someday you will too. Just hold on to that hope, keep fighting, and never forget that your worth isn't determined by someone else's. Betrayal, it's always been inside you, waiting to be rediscovered.